Isaac Newton developed calculus during a plague quarantine. Nikola Tesla designed entire machines in his head because he couldn't afford prototypes. Malcolm X rewired his brain in prison with a dictionary. Scarcity didn't slow them down. It made them dangerous. Because constraint forces your brain to operate differently, more focus, more creativity, more depth. And once you understand the three psychological mechanisms behind this, you'll never look at limitations the same way again. Chapter 1, the constraint engine. Most people think creativity requires freedom. Unlimited options, unlimited resources, unlimited tools. Wrong. Unlimited options paralyze your brain. Psychologists call this the paradox of choice. The more choices you have, the worse your decisions become. Columbia University ran a famous study. 2 tables in a grocery store. Table 1 had 6 types of jam. Table 2 had 24 types of jam. Guess which table sold more? The small one. People approached the big table more often. But almost nobody bought anything. Too many choices. Your brain freezes. Now think about creative work. If you can do anything, you do nothing. Writers with unlimited ideas stare at blank pages. Designers with infinite tools freeze. Programmers with endless frameworks never start. Scarcity destroys that problem. You don't ask, what should I do? You ask, what can I do? That question is powerful because limits narrow your search space. Your brain stops wandering, it starts solving. This is called constraint-based creativity, the same principle used in engineering. The fewer materials you have, the smarter the design must become. NASA engineers solved the Apollo 13 oxygen crisis using only the materials inside the spacecraft. A plastic bag, duct tape, cardboard, that constraint forced genius. Unlimited resources would have created lazy thinking. Scarcity creates precision. But here's the problem though. Constraints alone don't create genius, they create pressure. And pressure can either break you, or sharpen you. That depends on the second mechanism. Chapter 2, Cognitive Compression. When you have unlimited resources, you consume information. When you have limited resources, you compress it. This changes everything. Think about modern learning. You have YouTube, Google, AI, online courses, millions of sources. What happens? You skim, you watch, you bookmark, you forget. Your brain refuses to store information it can retrieve later. Psychologist Betsy Sparrow called this the Google effect. When information is externally accessible, your brain stops memorizing it. Why remember something? Wait, you can search? Scarcity removes that escape. Now you must understand, you must internalize. You must compress knowledge. Surgeons do this constantly. They don't memorize thousands of facts individually. They compress them into patterns. Symptoms become illness scripts. Procedures become algorithms. Your brain stores compressed models instead of raw data. Think of it like zip files. Novices store loose information. Experts zip everything together. Less space, faster recall, stronger connections. Scarcity forces this compression. Because you don't have 200 books, you have 3. So you read them 10 times. You analyze every sentence. You extract the core ideas. And those ideas burn into memory. Cal Newport calls this deep work. Sustained focus without distraction. Most people never experience it because their environment never forces it. But scarcity does. No distractions, no alternatives. Just the problem in front of you. That's where genius forms. But here's the thing though. Even deep focus and compression aren't enough. You still need one more ingredient, the most powerful one. Chapter 3, Survival Stakes. Motivation changes your brain chemistry. But not all motivation is equal. Most people learn for mild rewards. A grade, a promotion, a hobby. Your brain doesn't treat that as urgent. So it forgets. But when stakes rise, memory explodes. Psychologist Robert Bjork calls this desirable difficulty. When learning feels hard and meaningful, your brain encodes it permanently. Think about emergency situations. You remember every detail, every sound, every movement. Why? Your brain activates survival encoding. Now apply that to learning. Prisoners studying law to fight their cases. Immigrants learning languages to survive. Entrepreneurs learning business because failure means bankruptcy. The stakes are real. So their brains respond differently. They study longer, they focus deeper, they remember more. Malcolm X copying the entire dictionary wasn't about discipline. It was about transformation. He couldn't write letters. He felt humiliated. So he rebuilt his mind word by word. Scarcity created stakes, and stakes created obsession. Now here's something interesting. Elite training programs manufacture this pressure. Medical schools use brutal questioning. Military training uses extreme environments. Why? Because pressure accelerates learning. When mistakes matter, your brain pays attention. But here's the problem, though. Most people hear this and think they need to suffer to become smart. Not exactly. You don't need prison. You don't need poverty. You need artificial scarcity. And the smartest performers design it deliberately. Before I show you how, hit subscribe before you forget, because the next principle changes how you work forever. Chapter 4, the Artificial Scarcity Protocol. Elite performers don't wait for constraints. They create them. 3 ways. First, the 3-resource rule. Limit the number of sources you use. 3 books, 3 courses, 3 tools, that's it. When resources are limited, your brain goes deeper. Instead of skimming 10 books, you master 3. Second, time compression. Most people give themselves unlimited time. I'll finish this project eventually. Eventually never arrives. Instead, shrink the deadline. Writers do this. Journalists must produce articles within hours. Engineers use hackathons. 24 hours to build something real. Suddenly, your brain becomes efficient. No overthinking, just execution. Parkinson's law explains this. Work expands to fill the time available. Cut the time, work becomes sharper. Third, environmental constraint. Your environment determines your focus. If your phone is nearby, your attention dies. A University of Texas study found that simply having your phone visible reduces cognitive capacity. Not using it, just seeing it. So elite performers remove distractions, monks isolate themselves. Writers lock phones in drawers. Programmers use internet blockers. They simulate the constraint environment. No escape, only the task. And something strange happens. Your brain adapts, focus becomes easier, ideas become clearer, work becomes faster. But here's the thing though, even if you use these techniques, there's still one hidden advantage scarcity creates. And it's the reason some people become unstoppable creators. Chapter 5, Constraint Forces Originality. When resources are unlimited, people copy. Why invent something new when existing solutions are everywhere? But scarcity removes templates. You can't copy what you can't access, so you invent. Hip-hop music was born from scarcity. Broken turntables, cheap equipment, limited instruments, artists invented scratching, looping, sampling. Entire genres emerged from limitation. The same thing happens in technology. Early video games had severe memory limits. Developers couldn't store large graphics, so they invented pixel art, a new visual language born from constraint. The pattern repeats everywhere. Film directors with low budgets invent creative camera techniques. Chefs with limited ingredients invent new recipes. Programmers with weak hardware invent efficient algorithms. Scarcity forces originality, because imitation becomes impossible. Now think about your work. If you rely on unlimited tool, your thinking becomes lazy. But if you remove those tools, your brain starts building new ones. That's the genius mechanism. Constraint leads to creativity. Pressure leads to focus. Scarcity leads to mastery. But here's the final problem, though. Most people understand this and still do nothing. They keep scrolling. They keep consuming. They keep waiting for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions never produce genius. Constraint does. The people who build extraordinary skills aren't the ones with the most advantages. They're the ones who learn to operate without them. Less resources, more thinking. Less distraction, more depth. And when you master this mindset, limitations stop feeling like obstacles. They start feeling like leverage. Because the truth is simple. Scarcity doesn't block genius. Scarcity creates it. But here's the thing. Even if you master scarcity, there's still one cognitive problem that destroys learning speed. Your brain forgets almost everything you study. Within a week, 90% is gone. That's why I made the next video explaining the exact memory system experts use to make information permanent. Once you see it, you'll realize most studying is completely useless. Watch it next.